Guys, it's Invisible Sunday again. How are we doing? We're back. Well, sort of. Most of us, I think. Are you back? I'm back. Or am I still in the shadow? I don't know.
I'm never really sure.
Me either. It's so hard to tell, you know. I mean, what was it from the Matrix? You know, if someone told you that you weren't dreaming, would you know that the difference between the dream world and the real world, or whatever? Right? Is that kind of like how it is?
Yeah, something like that, actually.
So how are we doing? We're back. It's Sunday. It's Invisible Sunday, and it's our turn. Um, Welcome back to the Actuality with the Soul's Direction. My wonderful cast here. 3 out of 4 of them anyway. And let's go ahead and reintroduce everybody because it's been a hot minute. I think we're going to take some time this morning or this afternoon. It's afternoon. It's morning somewhere. Anyway, we're going to take some time and kind of for those of you that have just started that are joining us for maybe the first time, we want to go over um, where we've been in the campaign so far and kind of give you some bit of perspective of what our Vislae are doing and the forces that are kind of arrayed against them and with them. So, Kelton, why don't you go ahead and get us started? Who are you playing?
I'm Kelton. I'm playing Billy Burrows. I am. Oh my gosh, there's so many. I am an established empath who plumbs the deeps of sleep, and I am a weaver. And yeah, Billy is a staticky black and white apparition of a man who plays the trumpet, and is very curious about why he doesn't remember life before the war.
Awesome. Joanne, tell us about Claire.
I am playing Claire Thespian, a bizarre, gallant goetic who listens to the whispers. Um, yeah, I'm just working on becoming a bigger goetic and talk to ghosts a lot.
Resident, not quite Ghostbuster. And last but not least, let's go ahead and Albion, why don't you finish us off?
Well, I'm playing Albion J. Finch. Uh, I'm a bizarre empath of the Order of Makers who walks with a secret companion.
And your secret companion is
Well, his name's Raynard, but I just call him Rainy.
a wonderful and lovable fox. Don't laugh. You love when he gets into mischief. You know you do.
Why I have him around to help me get into mischief.
He's teaching you. It's another thing for you to learn.
Keeps life interesting.
All right. So it's been a long time, guys. We've been going um lately off and on, but we've been going since last October. That's a long time. So let's get into what we've been up to, what our Vislae have been up to. Um, who wants to start us off? What did we start out with?
Chaos. We started with chaos.
Okay.
I used to have an opera house, and then it got burned down. I used to have ghosts that lived in my opera house, but the Thoth have mysteriously taken them away.
So we've got a burned down opera house and ghost. Is that where we started?
Pretty much, yeah.
I used to have a nosy neighbor.
You did with vines.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Talking
Virginia Creeper.
gossip vines.
And she got deaded.
She got dead. That's kind of for Billy, that's kind of where things got started.
Oh, and don't forget, Crow got taken. That
Mhm.
Crow was taken by the thaw, and
Yep.
we ran into spiders. I still don't like spiders.
So when we started, you were all invited to a party by a very rich, very odd man by the name of Kudash. And um, as you went to that party, he was not somebody that you knew beforehand, but he seemed to know each one of you. And at this party, you met a whole bunch of people. You met Kudash, you met his wife, and there was a really odd rumor that went around the party. Do you remember what that rumor was?
The girl from the
Girl
other
from the
shore.
other shore.
That's right, but nobody seemed to know who had seen her or who she was or what was up with her. And after
Still
this
don't.
party, you still don't. And after this party, you received another letter. Trying to get to the text of that letter. The letter said, "It was a lovely party, and Kudash is on his own path, but that's still not where you belong. To find your way to your soul's home, you must look in directions that have been forgotten. Seek the compass, it will teach you the way." And you spent some time uh, getting to know each other, and you observed your friend, your neighbor, the crow, um, doing her thing at her shop, and all of a sudden, one day, you you found a dead vine or a dying vine outside of your unexploded ordnance. And it led you to do some B&E into her shop, breaking and entering for those of you that haven't played um, Prime games or Shadowrun games or anything like that. And you broke into the shop and did some digging around, and you found a basement. And the basement was full of flower pots with vines climbing up to the ceiling and then disappearing. The ceiling was pure black. And among all the vines were spider webs, tons and tons and tons of spider webs. And the spiders were all fleeing when you went down there. And Sterling discovered one of them in particular was different than the others. It was a true spider, and had an interesting conversation with it. And you all sort of followed the spiders out through what looked like an old tunnel and back to the surface, where you watched the proprietor of that shop get shoved into a hole in a brick wall by three robed and gold masked individuals. And all the while, she was screaming how she could still be useful to him. Do we remember that?
I do.
Sure do.
Right. So after that, um, we had an interlude episode on Halloween. Anybody remember the Halloween episode?
Yes.
Yes, the episode in which we did not enter the darkest house.
That would have been fun.
Albion and me were like,
That would have been fun. But we visited the carnival. We found the missing fox Fred of Granny's. And we saw the darkest
That's
house.
and we found a book. That's where we first found the first reference to the Arabast, which
That's right.
in fact, so that's really like the beginning of the current thread. That was the play, wasn't it? Is that where we found
That
the
was
play?
not the play.
Or that was where we found the first reference to
That
it
was
and
where you
started
found the first reference to it.
and then started picking. Yep.
So a friend of Rainey's disappeared in a carnival in the Fade, and Rainey asked the group of you to go find him. And along the way, you found in a ruined booth a school bag that carried a paper that referred to the Arabast. And you avoided the house at the center of the carnival, found Rainey's companion next to a very old, very dead carnival master who had a journal in his desk talking about how they needed to get rid of uh, the residence of one Philip Harlock because it was an eyesore and because people were complaining. And that you just left there. I don't understand why, but whatever. All right. So there was that. Then the following week,
Also,
you
not only is that where we found the first reference to the Arabast, but Billy cast a weave and tried to like seek it out and had like a whole dream slash vision of being in an asylum again and being chased down a hallway and having the orderly turn into glowing eyed horror and stab him with a needle.
and Claire had a vision as well,
Yeah, she did too.
and a similar but different glowy-eyed individual
Mm-hmm.
saved her from being run over by a car.
Mm-hmm.
And thus far, neither of you have determined who those individuals were. You decided that you were going to look. You were going to start looking for the compass that was referenced in the letter, and you, Billy, decided that you were going to try and investigate information on the direction of a soul by visiting the Dreamery in the Fade, where you met up with one of the docents and who was an old friend of yours, and learned some things about people in the past, the Arabast actually, that held a very specific belief about the soul that was no longer common. Albion, on the other hand, went with Sterling into the library at the Dreamery and discovered how to use and what it is like to use dream globes, and found some really crazy things.
He had some misty visions that
Yes, you did.
were very
You
uncomfortable.
you ended up going because you weren't satisfied with what you'd learned there to a larger library, Mentors in Mentors Square, and you met a very odd individual.
Mm-mm.
Oh, don't shake your head. You liked him.
Mm. Oh yeah, that one.
I know what you need.
That dude was creepy AF.
That's okay. He's scared of you now.
Good.
Albion found that out. You're still not sure why. But he
Maybe.
led you to several different things. He led you to a series of books on alchemy, Albion. He led, let's see here, he led you to Claire. He led you to Relics of the Lost Ones, I believe. He led Billy to Stories of the Erebus. Maybe I switched those. I don't know. One of you read Relics of the Lost Ones. One of you read the Stories of the Erebus. And the last one, he took you down, way, way down. This library goes down into the earth, and it's very deep. And in on one of the levels, a lot of the bookshelves are collapsed, and they appeared to have formed a tunnel. And he led you in that tunnel into a large, almost hovel room made entirely of bookshelves. And the room was oddly chapel like. And he gave Sterling a book from that room called The Infinite Soul of Vislae. And from those books, do you remember what you learned?
A lot. Stories of the Arabast. They're like Greek plays, origin stories. We learned that the Arabast were Vislae's first children. Vislae taught them magic. They were like the stewards of that. They taught Vislae magic. There's a bit of a daisy chain going on there. Yeah, and they were like morality plays almost. And I know that there was something about the Angular Serpentine in there, which is a thread we haven't tugged on because we've been focused on the Arabast and our little radio punk rock thing. And then Relics. Relics of the Lost Ones. Lost Ones are the Arabast. I remember less about this one. I think the relics, or wait, they're like gifts of Vislae or something. Maybe the compass is one.
Yes, it is.
Okay. And
the compass that you're looking for is the multiphasic compass.
Yeah, the multiphasic
One
compass
that's ever referenced in there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you're right, it is a gift from Vislae and from the Arabast.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and the Infinite Soul of Vislae is the one that Sterling read that was like weird postmodern philosophy stuff that was like super dense and hard to get through. because it was trying to convey specifically things that defy communication. A little bit
Yes.
of Deleuze and Gutierrez in there. And it also contained, that's where the essay we found on the like carnival dude's corpse came from that book.
Yep.
And then the Infinite Soul of Vislae refers to Vislae, not to literally Visla's soul, but to us.
That's right. So you learned two things from that book, two major things. The first one had to do with the relationship between Vislae, the people who use magic, Visla, the person or the goddess who created magic, and how to make magic work. And access more powerful magic. The second one had to do with the thread that you found in the Dreamery and the soul's direction. And it appears that the soul's direction is a circle. It begins with Visla, and it should end with Visla as well. In other words, a soul is created and then goes through some process and then returns back home to Visla. And then we shared notes, and Albion began studying in the alchemy section and discovered something that he was working on for his character arc. The Philosopher's Stone, and that the Philosopher's Stone is commonly thought to be a stone that transmutes one thing to another, but that information is actually incorrect. The Philosopher's Stone is actually a metaphysical representation of a Vislae's own soul. And it is multifaceted, and there are there are 8 pieces. Doing some asking, you find Billy, you find a dream owned by Orisard the architect, and Albion and Billy discover that the multiphasic compass is in the House of
Secrets on the Gold Sun.
On the Gold Sun with Rusaz.
Care of Rusaz. Whoever the hell that is.
Sterling tries to contact the Cadadran to see if he can use them to find any clues to the Arabast, and Claire went with him, and they met Soman the Zealot, who directs them to try and find someone named Fargor the Whisperer, although apparently Claire has already met him.
Shiny green eyes, right?
Did I say shiny green? I don't recall saying shiny green eyes. Did I say shiny green eyes?
Yes.
Nah.
Crap. Shiny green eyes, yes. Fargor the Whisperer.
Mhm.
And at that point, the other thing that happened is that Claire's house, Claire's theater, was destroyed by a fire. All of the ghosts in Claire's theater are dead, as in cannot be brought back, dead. And she was pushed out a window by someone along with her bag. The only other witness to that act was her next door neighbor, who is one of Saturine's version of INS, Immigration Services with the Pale. And for his protest, he too, like the crow, was taken by the thaw. And at that point, you decided that you were going to produce Rebel Radio. What was the point behind that?
Um,
We're looking to tear down the power structure. There's something in place that's designed to control the Vislae and the non-Vislae of the world, and it's looking to hide the information about the Arabast and anything to do with whoever lived here in Saturnine before the Vislae came. And so we're trying to find a way. We had been intending to put on a play. Well, Claire had intended to put on a play, but she ran afoul of the Thaw, apparently, because within a few days of putting up flyers about the play, her opera house was gone, her ghosts were gone, and we were left in a pickle. So we're hoping to build a radio and then get it up and running in Claire's new van home and travel around so that will be harder to pin down and broadcast radio plays from the book and perhaps reveal other information we're able to turn up in the meantime.
So, Claire,
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about this wonderful travel home that you have.
It's a car RV. The outside of it looks like an old Volkswagen bus, but when you climb in the back, it expands and looks like a massive RV. And eventually I'm going to be able to summon and bind a creature to it to help me move it around. Like
Now,
the taxi cars and whatnot.
could we call it perhaps a Carvey?
You probably could. That's not a bad way to describe that. So then, while Claire was finding a new place to live after her theater burned down, Billy decided to go back to where this all started and have a conversation with the enigmatic Kudash. And you found what?
I've had a couple conversations with him now. Um, I think the most important thing, especially for a recap, is Billy's curiosity about how to mask a broadcast specifically from the thaw, how to do it in such a way that runs counter to how they think and how they operate, so they won't be able to pin down our location, etc. Um, and yeah, I mean, to kind of fast forward a little bit, Kudash gave some advice about doing something basically like very non-binary, and Billy came up with, over several sessions, a plan on this complicated weave that sort of collapses the different concepts involved in it, which I suppose I should actually talk about what those are. I have them somewhere. I really do. But anyway, where is it? So he has that plan based on what Dash told him, and he knows what weaves to do, and he's currently looking into like how to make it semi-permanent, since it sounds like we're going to be doing more than one broadcast. And that was kind of like a whole rabbit hole that Kudash sent him down. During that conversation is when it began. Subtlety and dreams.
Yep.
Immobility and movement. Yeah.
So those were questions that you asked Dash, and then of the things that he volunteered, he suggested that while he can help some, that there are other people that might be able to help as well.
Yeah,
and
he
that you
pointed us
should
in the
start-
direction of the Order of Honed Thought.
Yep, he should start seeking them out. And the first place he said was the Order of Honed Thought. And he sent you to a safety deposit box in Gamrose Tower in the renovation. And what did you find there?
A bunch of money. So much money. 8 mage coins. And an amulet. A silver amulet on a braided leather cord. The symbol is a compass, like a needle and pencil kind of compass. And a scroll with the Order of Honed Thought symbol on it. And I don't know, do we know what those technically are, other than their descriptions physically?
Not really.
Okay.
I mean, I
I
could
think that
make
was
it up,
everything
but
in there.
I'm going to forget it. So,
Sure. Yeah, well, that's something we'll have to look into.
so we did that, and then we learned about. Let's see, you guys are trying to plan out the radio station, and did so in the Inconvenient Cafe. And while you were there and eating, something odd happened. What was that?
We had a spy.
You had a spy. Someone was paying a lot of attention to your conversation. So what did you do?
I slipped off to the ladies' room and summoned a sprite of adorableness. And traded a couple of orbs and a gel pen.
And how did that work out?
We discovered that the person's name, I believe, was P. Harlock, and they vanished into the darkest house in the carnival.
Oh, that house just keeps coming back, and someone should probably investigate that or something.
It's like the GM is trying to tell us something. Can't figure it out.
How about no? Some of us are not inclined to go into creepy houses in the middle of a creepy carnival where something already tried to eat us once.
Well,
Just saying.
it tried to eat your sprite.
No, there was a dude at the carnival that tried to eat us.
Yeah, if you could call it
Oh,
a
that's
dude.
right. That's right.
The thing was awful.
And I summoned that monster summon demon thing that I summoned to sit on his face and squash him. And it made a big mess.
So we did that, and you decided that there was probably better places that you should talk about that, like one of your homes or something. And so you continued talking about building a radio station and uh, obfuscating that radio station. And then Claire got to know somebody a little bit better than perhaps she had in the past. Claire, who was that?
Eber,
And
who
who's
has
Heber?
my boyfriend, Claire's boyfriend.
Yes, Claire has a boyfriend.
Yes, and he has also joined in on our adventure of uh, disposing of the thaw.
So Heber is a goetic that had spent most of his time teaching other goetics how to use the goetic library, because they are not anywhere near as well organized or have as many people to help as, say, mentors in Mentors Square. It's pretty much just him. So,
And don't forget, Albion gave me drugs.
oh yes, Albion made drugs and gave Claire drugs to help figure out how to do it, and it worked, and it was awesome. He also made some other really cool stuff. He made a homunculus.
Mm-hmm.
And he made a truth sensing potion. Let's see here. We introduced Heber to the other two in the group that are here anyway. And
Who both
that,
proceeded to basically threaten him.
yes, don't hurt our Claire or you will die horribly.
It was really cute.
And that takes us to where we are today. So you have a lot of threads you can chase down. You can do some, Albion's working on doing some learning, the silver and crafting, the green and ingredients collecting. You have the multiphasic compass that is somewhere in the gold. You have uh, this the order of honed thought that you have not yet visited. There's this nifty little house in the middle of a carnival that you could go and move into and have
There's
fun.
what? There's well, I don't remember that part.
Yeah. um, there's your radio station. There's trying to dig up more about the Erebus. There's trying to find Fargor. Um, so there's all kinds of things out there for our Vislae to do. Um, and that kind of wraps up a summary of what's gone on. We've got some fairly sinister forces arrayed against you. However, there appear to be people willing to help and put themselves out on a limb to fight that power alongside you. So I'll put it to the three of you. What would you like to do? Would you like to pick up right where we left off with the summoning of the guy that invented the radio, or do you want to go into long-term mode and do something else, or do we want to shift perspective and chase down a different thread, or what would you like to do?
I have a question that, and I guess this is
That
to
works.
everyone, GM included. Because I think maybe we just never knew this, but I feel like I lost some of what the multiphasic compass was all about. I'm trying to recall, like, what is our sense of what that thing does? Because I know where it is. I know that it points in directions other than like north, south, east, west that don't exist on typical compasses. But like, what does it do? What do we need it? Do we care, or is it just like what do you guys think?
If I recall, and I probably do not recall properly, but if I recall, the purpose of the multiphasic compass was to help us find the al, alba, albatross,
Arabast.
the Erebus. The my understanding was that the multiphasic compass was going to help us find any Erebus that were still alive because they didn't all die.
Okay. Which, okay, so my sense then is that we're collectively we're not ready, we're not that deep in it yet, I don't think. I think everybody's pretty all in on this pirate radio thing, right?
Yeah, I think we all just kind of got gung ho for this because everybody got upset because Claire's opera house burned down and all the ghosts are missing and the Ghostbuster neighbor is gone. And we all got upset and we're all like, okay, let's make a radio. And then we're all like, yes, we're going to make a pirate radio. We're going to be pirates.
Billy doesn't like it when, people try to control what you remember, what you believe, what your whole like mental construct of actuality is. And so he's like, let's fucking push back. So I think that we're all in on that.
What I will say is that the sense that you get from the note, right, is not just one of it's going to help you find the Erebus that are still alive. There are Erebus that are still alive. They are hidden, and it will help you find them. However, there's more to it than that. To find your way to your soul's home, you must look in directions that have been forgotten. Seek the compass, it will teach you the way. So the point of the compass is to teach you how to look, or in which directions to look, to find the things that you need to learn, to build, to discover, in order to complete that circle.
Hey, that sounds like fuel for a future broadcast to me. If we solve that puzzle, that's some information worth sharing.
Ian's very interested in the multiphasic compass because he thinks that it will help him understand the philosopher's stone more completely. It will help him find the way to the 8 pieces of the Vislae soul.
And he would be correct in that assumption.
And he is he is very committed to understanding the Philosopher's Stone. So, getting to the gold would be certainly priority, but also, figuring out how to build a compact and portable radio broadcast. And
Wasn't there a connection there? I think Albion was gonna go to the gold, and we had this moment of being like, "Yeah, we'll go with you," and then we kind of backpedaled, and we were like,
We agreed to go with him to the silver,
"Oh yeah, that's right. That's
but
okay."
we were discussing because he was talking about how he'd be kind of bored, how we'd be bored because he'd be spending all of his time crafting. We have all agreed that going to the green at this point in time is not an excellent idea.
You mean gold?
No, the
Not
green.
green.
Oh, okay.
I think the gold would be safer than the green.
What's
Well,
wrong
my
with the
question-
green? I don't remember.
The Fey creatures and the fact that if you make a single misstep, the ground and whatnot will eat you because green is growth and spells go haywire and overpowered and crap.
Yeah, it's a dangerous place. My question to you guys is: are we doing baby steps here? Do we think that do we want to check out this compass before we broadcast? Do we think it could help us construct the damn thing, or do we want to do our first broadcast, and then move on to this sun shifting craziness?
I think we need to stick with baby steps until after the radio is built. Because once, in my opinion, and I could be wrong, you can correct me if I am, but I'm thinking that once the radio is built and we've started broadcasting, I can just have the creature that I bind to my car keep it moving while we're doing other stuff. I think that once stuff is actually, I think it'll start. Dad about English. Come on, I can use it. I think that once it starts broadcasting and people start hearing, it's going to get noticed and then it's going to start snowballing. And I don't think we actually want to be physically with the radio while it's broadcasting because of it snowballing, because I really don't want to get caught by the thaw.
The other thing to consider is that right now, the only thing that you had planned on broadcasting was the plays in the book by Orsard. Is there something else that you want to broadcast? And if so, what is it? And where are you getting that information?
Well, we're going to broadcast the plays from the book. We were also going to talk about the thaw making people disappear. And then we had Sterling ransacking the Vancing College for more information on the Angular Serpent.
Okay.
And I figured I was going to be summoning like random ghosts to do like talk shows and stuff.
Yeah, like is that the cast?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I kind of thought. So this almost sounds like a fast forward montage or something, because Albie needs to go to Silver, figure out how to build this little guy. Billy still needs to lock down how to make his two separate weaves or similar effects to the weaves that he conceived basically permanent.
Which,
So that-
interestingly enough, you could probably find somebody in the Silver that knows how to do that. There are, after all, hundreds of makers that make their home there for precisely the reason that it's a wealth of ideas and knowledge about crafting and making and creation.
Yeah.
I've got the feeling that
That
our
tracks.
GM wants us to go to the Silver.
I am
I thought he
absolutely
wanted us to go to a
indifferent
house.
as
And
to where you guys go.
uh-huh,
I'll be totally honest. I am totally indifferent. I just want you guys to do what you want to do and understand what it is so that I can prepare for it. That's all.
So yeah, you just answered like 4 of my questions in one. So then, yeah, Billy's gung ho. I'm not going to be bored if I go to the silver because I have this other problem to solve. And safety in numbers. It's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea for us to stick together. We'll at least be close by if something goes totally fucking tits up.
Plus, it would let me investigate ways to make bodies for ghosts and stuff.
Well, yeah. Do you have some way of how many people are in the cast? Can you summon like 30 ghosts at once? Is there a little problem you got to solve there too?
Yes, I can. I can currently summon. Shit, where's my character sheet? I can summon shit.
Summon character sheet.
Yes, summon character sheet. I believe that I can summon Thor at this point in time.
Accio character sheet. Wait a minute, wrong thing.
Yeah, if there's only 4, they better be pretty fucking talented. You know what I mean?
You know, with as many ghosts as are in the Pale, I'm sure that there's going to be some actual real talent there.
No, that's a good point. But can they do
You know, not like anybody
3
that was at the
people?
theater before.
I guess what I'm
As long
saying
as
is,
you learn the name of ghosts, you can summon as many as you know the name of. Otherwise, I think you can summon 1 up until you get to 4th degree.
okay, so it's
But
not really a problem she has to solve.
but if we went to the Pale and you introduced yourself to all of the dead actors in the Pale, and and offered them jobs on the radio, I'm sure they would happily provide you with their names and
Yeah,
agree
see
to
that
assist.
that's
Hey,
the
I'm
other
here
thing.
and I'm going to go to another
The
sun. You know,
Dead
I'm all
Thespian
about that.
Society.
You know what? Actually, that's a great idea. Why would I have to summon them? Why couldn't I just? Why can't my radio broadcast jump suns? Nothing says it can't.
I'm not going to tell you that anybody's ever tried it, but I'm also not going to tell you it's not going to work.
That's a 50-50 shot. What if we built a broadcasting station on the Pale? And then we just have. Then I wouldn't have to worry about summoning anybody. They could just wander through and tell their stories.
I'm not sure Albion wants to make his permanent residence in the
No,
Pale,
just
but
one of them. Like in the real world, we've got satellite dishes, right? What if we made a satellite outpost in the Pale? Like we had the main broadcasting system, the carver,
Oh, okay. So
and then
okay.
do
We'd
a
still have
satellite
that.
on the Pale, and then a satellite on the Green, and then a satellite, and then we'd have all these satellites, and just have the signal bouncing everywhere.
Which
How
is
is it
what
not going to stop us? They'd have to
that's
find us.
yeah. That's essentially what Billy is doing on Indigo, because he's bouncing the broadcast into the dreams of anyone in Saturnine who is asleep, and then it's broadcasting from their minds to the actual radios. So,
But
I mean,
what she's talking
the
about, I
way
think,
you
is
cast that net, if we're like interdimensionally inter-sun casting that net, it's like doubling down on the same concept in a way.
and she's also talking about getting source material from
Mm-hmm.
the Pale, not just
Yeah,
signal bounce,
and a cast.
which is a good thing too, and a cast, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, maybe we could get
Okay.
in contact with the Queen of the Pale and let them know what happened to the ghosts that were in the Opera House.
Oh,
Now you're talking.
that's not a bad idea, Claire.
Because they went missing, and while I was upset at the time, but I do recall a Ghostbuster talking about sending a letter and talking to somebody before he got captured by the Thaw. So maybe this is important information that we need to share with the Queen of the Pale. I don't like
this is
that
why I
smirk.
love Invisible Sun.
I don't like my husband's smirk, though. I got a feeling we're in trouble.
Honey, we've been in trouble since like day one. Okay, we got to
I'm
lock
loving
down
this brainstorming.
something.
I hope
to
somebody's
do
writing
about.
this down.
I'm working on it.
All right, now I wouldn't say normally we could split the party, but I think it does make sense for Albion to go to
Yeah.
the Silver because he's not going to want to go hang out with a bunch of ghosts. So it would make sense for Albion and Billy to go to the Silver while I went to the Pale.
Yeah, I've got a solid reason now to go to Silver.
I do not. I have Chaos.
For the moment.
Oh, isn't there a way? This is an out of the character question because I don't remember if I read it in the book or not. But isn't there a way that the Queen of the Pale could grant permission for a ghost to return without requiring a body?
Yes.
So couldn't I talk to her and then get permission to use the radio inventor to help us build our radio?
If you can convince her of it, absolutely. That is 100% something you can do.
Now, how to convince a queen to give me what I want? Maybe the fact that I'm happy to build a radio station there for people to have something to do, which would make her subjects happy.
That might work. It's all going to be in how you present it. It's the same thing with the wardens of the gates, right? It's all about how you present yourself.
So I think we've got a pretty good plan.
So we're splitting the party.
Yes. It's not Dungeons and Dragons, so it's okay.
Famous last words.
Well, get ready for the last episode, everyone.
Well, I've already thought of another character idea, so I mean, yeah.
Well, I mean, if she dies, she just has better access to the Warden of the Pale. So.
That's right.
Fair point, yeah. Just come find her.
All right.
I will not be telling Heber that I am visiting the Pale, though.
Okay. So let's do this. We have 2 hours left in this session. So let's go ahead and try and split this evenly. We'll see how far we get down both paths. Let's start with Claire, I think.
Okay.
So the three of you obtain tickets for a sunship. Now, a sunship is not like a space shuttle, and it's not like a galleon. It's actually something of a cross between a passenger boat and a whale. And this whale has massive spectacles, glasses, and very, very thick black framed glasses. Looking at this thing, you would imagine that the lens on that set of glasses would have to be at least 100 feet thick, maybe 150 feet thick. As you're boarding this ship, and on its back, built up around kind of the hump of the whale, is this wooden kind of structure, almost like it doesn't have sails, and it's something. It's like halfway between the business portion of a ship, like a galleon, and a oh crud, the the portion of a dirigible where humans are, that bit underneath, right? It looks something between those. You see occasionally down the lines that seem to be tying this structure to the whale, or holding it upright or something. You're not quite sure which. Occasionally, you'll see blue crackling energy as it flows down and up, and uh, there's the whole thing is lit rather well. You see people from all walks of life, children and Vislae scholars from the Vancian College, and there's even a couple of ghosts. There's a few Elderbrin. There's just all kinds of different people on this ship, and a smallish uh, straw-haired kind of man. He's maybe 4 foot, 4'5", 4'6", maybe. Um, Looks up at you, and as you walk on, he holds out his hand. Ticket, please.
I'll give him my ticket, or I'll show him my ticket.
He takes it from you and looks at it, and blows on it, just very, very gently. And a portion of the ticket, as he does, glows a very faint gray. He says, "Ah, you go to the Pale. Very well, then. When we call for those who have never been to the Pale, please present yourself here once more, and we will let you visit the warden there." And he hands you the ticket back. "Have a good day, Mum."
You too. And she'll go on the board.
The thing about the Pale, or the thing about the ship, you see not just passengers, but there are a couple of um, vendors, I guess, um, selling odds and ends. And it's kind of strange. One of them's selling food, which you could kind of understand from a journey perspective, okay? But the other one sells. It almost looks like a curio shop, but the mixture is so bizarre that you have trouble making sense of it. You see a couple of dream globes. You see what looks like a uh, a piece of ore, I guess. Um, like what silver might look like still encased in rock, right? So you've got a little bit of a hunk of silver and then rock around it, like pre-refined silver, I guess. There are things that appear to be fireworks, and there are packets of seeds and potted plants, and um, there are what look to be old looking journals, not the empty kind that you'd write in, but ones that have already been filled in. You just really odd, eclectic mix of things. It takes about a half an hour before the ship is loaded, and then um, the gate is lifted once more, and the whale begins to float, and it sort of lifts up above Saturnine and heads out towards the unknowable sea. Um, and then are you sitting down? What are you doing on this ship?
I am going to find a comfortable spot to sit down, making sure there's space for both Kelton and wait, aren't Kelton with me? Making sure that there's nobody else near me.
Okay. Are you sitting to where you can look out a window or something, or are you just kind of in the center of the boat?
I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna look if there's space where I can sit sort of by myself, close to a window. I will sit near a window. If I would have to sit near people to sit at a window, then I will sit in the middle of the boat, away from people.
Okay.
I don't want to people.
All right. You manage to find yourself a spot on the boat where you can look outside and you're not near anybody.
Yay!
And as you lift above the unknowable sea, um, something very strange happens. It looks like the sea just sort of falls away underneath you, almost like um, you went straight up impossibly fast. But you don't get that sensation. Like you know what happens when you go up really fast? You get that bottoming out sensation in your stomach. You don't feel that. It's not like you moved up really quickly. It just the view shifts that way. And as you um as you watch, there is a bright light but it's not white. Its colors split, kind of like the way light gets shown at the end of a prism, but not as cleanly. The light and the colors are blended in a really odd, really chaotic, but really beautiful way. And then you arrive at the gate to the gray sun, and the uh, the sunship docks and lets people out that are getting out there, and brings people on. Um, Not very many, but they are all Vislae, and um, they're all adorned the same way. And then the gate goes up, and once again, you lift up, and that same rising and light and colors happen. And then you are on I believe the Pale is next, is it not?
I think so.
Yeah. So the Pale is after the Gray, and then it lowers and docks, and they call out those who need to visit the Warden of the Pale. Please disembark.
I disembark.
Okay. Um, the There is a small rock outcropping that you walk onto, beyond which is a gate that is it's an archway, very similar to the one that you find um, letting people into the uh, where you live in Saturnine, um, Fartown, Fartown Gate. It's massive. It's easily 100 feet tall, and oh, 50, 60 feet wide. There's no doors, but the entire thing is glowing with um, this pale white light. And the few people that got off with you just walk right up to it and go through.
Are they alive or dead?
Yes. A couple of them are alive. You see at least one Vislae from the Vancian College. I mean, his robes are obvious; they're a dead giveaway. But there's a couple of ghosts that go that way, um, and there's a couple just what look to be normal people, and actually one of them is a family. You see what appear to be a mother and father and three children, and they walk through the gate.
I will follow along behind, but slowly, because I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just taking wild shots in the dark.
Okay. You walk through the gate and find yourself in a vast hall. And this is where we're going to draw a card.
untrustworthy mirror.
Untrustworthy mirror. Meanings: illusion, false identity, failure. Can we trust the mirror? Shadow thinking would say yes, but wisdom gained in the actuality suggests otherwise. When no one can see your reflection, is it really yours? If you have to look into a mirror to confirm your own appearance or identity, how do we know it's not lying? The world is full of illusion and deception. Believing your own eyes isn't always wise, and believing what's in the mirror is a step removed from that. Alrighty then.
That's not creepy at all.
You find yourself in a vast hallway. And oddly enough, when I say hallway, I'm not talking like a hallway that connects two rooms. I'm talking about like a reception hall, right? Like a throne room almost. Well, actually, it is a throne room. Um, Lining the walls of this throne room, as you walk through the portal and towards the throne, which the area between you and the throne is covered with a red carpet, are in fact mirrors.
Okay.
You look at them.
I will kind of look at them out of the corner of my eye, but I won't actually turn to face them because mirrors are creepy.
Okay. So looking at them out of the corner of your eye, you notice that in each one, it is in fact you that appears in the mirror. You are not, however, walking towards a throne in any of them. It appears to be different scenes in your life. So, for instance, you see one where you're standing next to your Carvey. Okay. You see one where you were up in the balcony of your theater with Billy and Albion and Sterling and getting drunk. You see one where you were having dinner with Heber, and none of the mirrors are showing current reflection of you, but they're all showing you.
Okay.
At the top of the dais at the end, there is a massive throne, and you see a woman. Um, she is wearing a long white robe with what looks to be almost like a wedding veil that covers her face, but it's not hanging from her head. It's hanging from a hat that she's wearing. That's it's got to be 2 feet tall. Um, it it's got the general shape of one of those chef hats, except instead of being poofy on the top, it kind of spreads apart and then is flat, and the veil is hanging from the flat of that portion um, of the hat. She is 8.5, maybe 9 feet tall. The only portion of her body that's actually uncovered is her hands that she's resting on the arms of the chair. And you notice that the hands are older. You know, like what happens when we get older, the skin sort of hangs on um, the hand and the body a little bit differently. The joints are more pronounced, things like that. It looks kind of like that. Um, and as you get close and 10, 15, 20 feet, you hear a voice in your head, uh, a female one, and it says, "What seek you in my domain?" What seek the living among the dead?
I will. Claire stops and then gracefully curtsies towards the throne and says a sharing of information and a pair of requests.
A sharing of information. Often do
Been
the
waiting for
living
this.
seek information from the dead.
In this case, it is the living to give information to the dead.
You see her start drumming her fingers on the throne. The throne is almost alabaster. It's marble, but it's mostly white. There's a speck of gray and a speck of black here and there, but it's almost all white. And it's the oddest mix of marble you've ever seen in your life. But she's drumming her fingernails on the arm of this throne as she looks at you.
My name is Claire Thespian. I had a neighbor that I believe worked for you. His name was Wesley. Always
Yes,
wore
you
a
did.
black kerchief on his head.
I remember him very well.
My opera house once contained a number of the people that were under you. Ghosts, if you will.
Yes, yes, thespians all.
The thaw attacked the opera house, removed or eradicated the ghosts, and captured Wesley.
The drumming stops.
When it happened, I had been nearly knocked unconscious as they were burning down my house, and I was shoved out of a second-story building. I have now come before you to inform you of this information in hopes that you understand my concerns.
She's silent for a very long time and finally says, "He moves. He coils. He had you once in his clutches. You were to be mine as well." And yet here you are.
I believe someone else still wants me alive, and that is the only reason I am not with you.
So it would seem. Very well. I will investigate such matters. You mentioned requests.
Yes. Yes, Empress. One request that I had was actually a production. My companions and I, they are not with me at the moment because, well, they're pursuing other things, would like to set up a radio outpost on your lands to allow your people a place to tell their stories, to share with the living their history and their lives without judgment or censure. With your permission, of course.
Interesting. Such a thing has never been attempted, as far as I understand. Perhaps. And she pauses, reaching into her pocket in the robes. She pulls out what looks to be almost a coin, but it's attached to a string. You're guessing it's some form of amulet. And she begins twirling it over her fingers. Perhaps it would be good to tell our stories. However, it is not for me to tell my subjects to relive their lives in front of Vislae. And she says it something somewhere between normal conversation and disdain. um, if you can convince people to do so and have a way to do it, very well. But may I suggest that uh, the decorum that you show match the honor that these who have passed merit in their continued journey.
Yes, my Empress. I will be most careful in my dealings. I do not seek to offend, and many of the ghosts that were in my opera house were my friends, and that is why I'm here before you. They were my friends, my people. They brought me much joy, and having had what has happened, I don't want anyone else to experience such pain.
Very well. And she gestures to the side, and as she does, you see one of the mirrors begin to glow as well. You may pass to Catafalque.
What was the name of the dude that invented the radio?
Leander Z. Finnerty.
You beat me to it. I was like, oh, I got this.
All right. Can y'all hear me now?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Before Claire enters the mirror, she will curtsy once more. The other request I had was if I could borrow the services of Leander, name,
Finnerty.
Finnerty, for a period of time among the living to help build the radio station. I understand that this is typically not done outside of spells and bindings, and I do not wish to bind him. I would be able to offer a small token of my appreciation in the form of a gift for you, a bit of intriguing reading, and the reason I believe the Serpentine still hunts me. And Clara is going to pull out a copy of the book of the plays,
Stories of the Airbast.
the stories of the Arabast, and offer it up to her with another curtsy.
She looks at the book for a very long time and then slowly raises her hands as if, no, it's okay. I do not need that book. Orasad was a good man, one who shared his knowledge freely. He paid the price for it. But perhaps you can do better. Take that with my blessing. And if he is willing, Mr. Finnerty may go and accompany you for a period of not more than 10 days.
Thank you, Empress. You are most gracious.
We must all help where we can. The clutches of the serpent will crush us all. And she fades from view. You notice that while you weren't the only one that disembarked from the sunship. You were the only one in that hallway, and the only one talking to her, and she was the only other person in that room.
Oof.
And that's not creepy as fuck at all.
No, it's like, why was that so easy? Oh, the clutches of the serpent will crush us all. Okay.
The Queen of the Dead has been through the ringer. She knows. She knows much. Beware.
And apparently, she knew Orsard personally.
Well, he's dead, so I guess she has access to that.
No,
Not sure how that works.
recall.
He's not dead?
No.
Yeah.
Claire can summon the dead.
Mm-hmm.
You had
Oh,
tried to
fuck.
summon Orisard,
That's true.
and he could not be summoned. He's not
That's true.
dead. He's something else.
Yeah, he's not dead. He's not,
Yeah, he's not.
apparently. Forgot about that.
Yeah, there's
I-
dead, and then there's dead. And he's the latter.
Mm.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
so Claire will be taking lots of notes to share this entire creepy visit with Albion and Billy, because this
Yeah, I
was
think at some point Billy established, like, I'll check in with you while you're sleeping. And we can have a little back and forth each night.
yeah.
And I think that's where we're going to take our break. Folks, thanks for sticking around with us so far. It's been a hot minute since we've been playing, but this has been a blast. And I'm excited to show off some more of the actuality to y'all. And maybe scare
Oh
the
my
crap out
god,
of
we
my
left
players some.
Saturnine!
Yes, we left Saturday. Woo!
Woohoo!
We got there! We did it!
Feel like you need like a flag or something and plant it in the pale, One small step for Vislae.
Little bone-colored star.
There you go.
Yes, a little pin to put on my lapel.
Nice. Left Saturday.
No, I visited the Pale and lived to tell the tale.
Ooh, that's good too. All right, so we're going to take a quick break. We'll see you back here in about 10 minutes, so at about 4:50. And in the meantime, enjoy the interlude, and thanks for joining. Stick around. We are back, fellow Vislae. Welcome to the Soul's Direction. I am Josh Wallace. I'm the game master here. And boy, it's been kind of an interesting session so far. We spent some time recapping what we've done on the campaign, and then we planned out a little bit about what we're going to do going forward. And then Joanne and Claire Thesbian went to visit some dead people and got a few surprises, I think. So,
I see dead people.
how often do you see them?
Actually, all the time is Claire Thespian.
Pretty much. All right, so cutting over to our other two, um, you are taking a different sunship, and it takes
Well,
you.
wait, because at some
Yes.
point it needs to be said. At some point, Billy says to Albion, "You wanna take a sunship, or do you want to just take a shortcut? Because we could just." You're muted.
Well, I mean, I suppose a shortcut, if you know of one, might be appealing.
I mean, it seems like as much as I'd like to visit the bar on the sunship and sort of just like hang out with you for a while, it might be an intelligent idea to just get the hell to the silver and get working.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a way to get there, then by all means, let's do that.
Please enlighten us.
I'm gonna weave together um, distance from freedom and silver from moonlight, and as a I'm gonna just pump 8 sorcery into it.
Oh,
Real quick, no problem. So 9th level is teleport anywhere in this or any universe. And I could probably bump it up to 9th level, but I'm just going to do it at 8th because I am literally weaving silver into the weave.
I will allow that for a reason I'm not going to explain.
That's the best answer ever.
You
I was
should
also
totally
glad that,
try and figure it out, but yeah.
Okay, will do. So that's gone. So I play a very very creative, like improvisational, almost no time signature sort of madness thing on the trumpet, and the waves of sound from the trumpet sort of like reverberate around us, and it creates that like heat blur, like that desert mirage sensation. And then I leave it to our humble GM, Josh.
You find yourselves in what would be probably best described as every good dream about making something that Albion has ever had. It is a workshop that you can't see the end of. And there is every kind of tool to work with every kind of material that you can possibly imagine. And you see as you look around, a single individual kind of puttering around the workshop. He stops at like an anvil, and he'll pick up a hammer and take a couple of strikes at something. You can't quite see what it is, and then he'll put it down, and he'll go off to um, like a table with those magnifying the glass lenses or whatever that make things bigger, and you see him kind of hunch over, and it almost looks like he's sewing something, and he'll do that for a couple of seconds, and then he'll put that down, and he'll go to a different table, and he'll do something else. Um this 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 individual is, um you can't tell whether it's male or female, um or anything in between. He For clarification's purposes, I'll say he, but you don't know. Is made entirely of light, um, but it's light bound by distance, um, and so the light is in a shape. It's not. It doesn't radiate the way a light bulb does. It's like the light is contained to the bulb itself. Except in this case, it's not a light bulb, it's the form of a person. Um, they are maybe 7 feet tall, and you can distinguish arms and legs and hands and fingers even, but specifics on those features, like if you look at his head, you don't see hair, you see the outline of where hair should be. If you look at his face, you don't see eyes, you see somehow the contour of where eyes should be, if that makes any sense. um And finally, he works his way over to you, and he stops, and he says, and the voice is, you'd probably call it a cacophony, right? It's not a male voice, it's not a female voice. It's like if a choir started speaking all at the same time, and you had male voices and female voices, and they were all talking and saying the same thing, right? But in a some talking and some singing, and some whispering, and growling, and whatever, right? All mixed into one. And while you can understand what's being said, you get the sense that it's very much not one person doing the speaking, if that makes any sense. And this is where we're going to draw another Sooth card.
Am I there, or is this just Albie? Because I don't know if I took us to different places. Or
No, you are both there.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So while this is happening, Billy is like, "Oh my god, it worked! Jesus! Sometimes I'm so clever, I don't even understand a single thing that I'm doing. Well, oh god!"
There we go. Revealing knife.
All right. Revealing knife. Meanings, revelation, discovery, finesse. The revealing knife cuts everything. It slices through buildings or mountains as easily as paper or flesh. Anything that obfuscates what lies beyond or within is cut with precise strokes. We all long for such a tool to cut away the confusion and the lies, but we fear it as well. For what would such a knife slice away from us? What would it expose? The philosopher Timon Green said, "We always assume that what lies beneath, buried deep, is what is real. But what if the truth is actually the outermost layer? What if the grandest secret in the world is that there are no secrets and everything is what it appears to be?" Most believe the revealing knife to be the counterpoint to Green's idea. Okay. So this cacophony of voices turns and looks at the two of you. And I'm going to start with Billy. Billy, when it talks to you, it sounds almost like chastising. And it says, "What business have you here, Shadowborn?" And then when when it talks to you, Albion, you don't hear any of that. You hear something completely different. Your soul is yet fragmented. Why come here? We cannot help you reforge it. You do not have all the pieces.
So Billy says, "Hello, look. To live is the rarest thing in the world. To exist, that's all that most people do. Just merely exist. To remember is truly important. So I came here to remember, and I came here to help all of us remember. All of us. Vislae. There is something missing, and there are some problems. And God, I'm saying all this, and I'm assuming you're the warden, but perhaps you're not. I'm Billy. Pleased to meet you."
We are Therim.
Fair. Am I familiar with that term?
Therim. Therim.
Oh.
Therim. We are the warden of this sun. And you, how would you remember that for which you did not exist?
Well, I don't remember all of it yet, but I feel like it's pretty important. I feel like we've looked into this, we've uncovered some fairly disturbing things that you, being who you are, might know about already. But but they make me quite a bit uncomfortable, and Saturday we want to put on a play, just a little radio play about the secrets of the Arabast, because I am not a fan. I'm not a fan of people fucking with other people's memories, making us people that we're not supposed to be. So we've got some important work to do, and I think I can find a way to help us here, if you'll allow it.
The Vislae who was not supposed to be, yet is anyway, wishes to help. How curious.
What does that mean? The Vislae who was not supposed to be.
Don't you know? You are not. You were not. And now you are.
What do you mean I was not? Like I was not before the war?
You see his head move slightly in.
The truth is rarely pure and never simple, but are you saying... Are my memories from Shadow real?
Yes.
So did I come here from Shadow and there was nothing before that?
Yes. You, Vislae, are different. There are not many like you.
But there are others. You just implied there are others. There are others?
Indeed.
Interesting.
By the way, Albion, you can hear him talking.
Mhm.
Billy, you do not hear Theron talking. But you can it's like you're hearing one side of a conversation. Billy's talking out loud and you hear it just fine.
It's like I always say, be yourself. Everybody else is taken. Do you... God, I could talk to you for hours. You're probably a busy individual. So, we come here to the Silver. We both have our reasons. You probably already know what we intend to do, but how do you feel about the Angular Serpentine?
Sorrow.
Right?
Pain. Grief.
Exactly. I want everybody to remember. I simply seek the assistance of some makers here to help me complete a weave. And I would really appreciate your blessing, because I think we're doing, hopefully, some real good. Yeah.
You see him hold out his hand. You're assuming palm up based on the way it's held. And he says something you've created, Vislae, who is not, and yet is.
Oh, he's asking. That took me a second.
Yep, he's asking. You see Albion, you see him hold out his hand towards Billy. You don't hear anything, but you see him hold out his hand towards Billy.
Something I have created. I didn't really create that, though. I think what Billy does is he takes, his trumpet it's not in a case. It's just like slung over his shoulder on like a piece of twine or like thin hemp like rope. And he takes it, and he plays he has an established weave or whatever the hell that's called. It's somewhere on here. It's the one that he did multiple. He did it in the bar with Albion, and he did it at the Vancian campus when he first met Sterling. It's like the calm emotions weave. So it's a practiced weave, is what it's called. It's his practiced weave. So he created it, and he doesn't look at sound anymore as like an ambient thing. So he attempts to play that weave, and I can refresh my pool instantly, so I can spend a sorcery into the open hand of Theron.
Excellent. Go for it.
So I'll spend the sorcery to do that. Do you want me to roll something?
Yes. You are going to roll persuasion.
Okay. So I put a sorcery in, so I'm rolling 2 die. And yeah. Let's see what happens. Oh boy. That is a 0 on the mundane die and a 6 on the magic die.
Okay. You, as you're playing your trumpet, there is a ball of soft pink that floats out of the horn end, and very lazily, like think at the end of Forrest Gump, that motion of the feather at the very end where the camera's following it around and it just flies all over the place. It looks like that. Chemists call it Brownian motion, right? Or physicists, I should say. And so this ball just kind of floats as if it's on a current, and then lands in his hand. and he closes his hand and it disappears. You may enter. As a point of game information,
Mhm.
you may no longer cast that prepared weave ever again. It is gone.
Damn. Okay. 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 Wow.
What is Albion?
Albion is reflecting back to the piece or the thing that they said about uh, the broken the broken soul, the fragments of their soul, and they ask, how does someone put the pieces of their soul back together once it's broken?
You have them. They become an offering. You, pretentious Vislae, have no power to assemble your own soul. Only she who is greater than you may do so.
Well, sounds like that could be a lot of people. I'm only a man. I
The statement is very much a capital S kind of a she who is greater than you.
well, I'm I'm here because uh, I need to learn how to create a small but mighty broadcaster. And I was hoping that I could work with some of the Vislae that have settlement here in the Silver. Of course, I'll have to treat with you to secure passage, but I would like your blessing in this endeavor. I'll be honest. The more I look into what I'm seeking, the less I feel connected to the way I'm living my life. I want to understand the philosopher's stone, but the more I look into it, the less it seems like it's a thing that can be made, and more a piece that has to be understood and found within uh, what's
Creation takes many forms, young maker.
so. Well, I sure would like to I would like to get passage through so that I could speak with some of some of the more experienced Vislae on the other side of this gate.
He slowly extends his hand towards you. And what have you created?
Rummage around in my little pack, and I pull out an ephemera object, a potion that allows me to speak every language all at once. And I say, well, I did make this. One of the first things I ever made without, following somebody else's recipe, and I'm pretty proud of it. And I offer this to you.
You reach out and set it on what you presume is his hand, and it sits there. And he closes his hand, and it vanishes. You may enter. And as a point of game information, you also may not craft that particular ephemera ever again.
All right.
As he stops speaking, he turns and goes back to moving from crafting station to crafting station. And the entire workshop slowly fades from view around you, um, almost as if it was a mirage, or perhaps you're waking from a dream. You're not quite sure, but you end up um, you are looking at a massive hill, at the top of which is a walled city. The city is almost completely white. And it appears to glow, even though there's really no, like, I mean, it's not like there's a sun shining down that's reflecting off the stone or anything like that. It's not glowing that way. The glow is coming from the city. Um, and um, it's metal, it's glass. There are you see flowers everywhere. And there's a path that looks to be leading towards the city, and you see all kinds of different colored flower petals covering portions of the path. When you look up with a gentle breeze, you see them flying everywhere, and very much in that kind of motion that your magic made when it reached his hand, right? Um, Mesmerizing in its beauty. Um, Occasionally, you see what looks to be a flock of butterflies, um, and they will flutter around and almost like they're playing in air, right? So they'll shift and morph, and the shape that they're in is constantly moving, and then they'll move off and go somewhere else and kind of hover there and do the same thing. And they're all very bright, vibrant colors. Um, and that's what you see. You find yourself on this path, and there's a city off in the distance. Um, and I think that is where we're going to end our session today.
That's evil.
Damn it!
You're
But-
evil.
I have all of the questions, all of them. Wow.
What I'll do is I will, if you have questions, and I can answer them, I will. We have about a half an hour left, which really wasn't time to start another scene. But if we've got some discrete questions, or something I said wasn't clear, I can go ahead and clarify that. That's no problem.
No, not those kind of questions.
Okay, then. Fair enough. Again, I don't want to make it so obscure that you can't follow what I'm trying to get at, but at the same time, I don't want to give away the plot either. So.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm here with you.
You're evil.
I
Yes,
think Billy has a lot of questions, but it's like an in-game kind of
Fair enough.
situation. And I have plenty too, but I'm good with them. I shall live with them.
So that is our session for today, guys. It's been a great. This was a fun session. I'm excited for you guys to find some cool stuff on different suns. We are. Let's see here. We are Invisible Sunday today, because every Sunday is Invisible Sunday. Next Sunday, you can find more excitement in the Actuality on Manapot Studios. Our friends over there are running The Hole in the World. It's an amazing live play they've been running for years now, and I love them to death. They're good friends of the show, and go check them out. We have tonight at 8:30 Eastern. Our Citadel Lounge is open. The drinks will be out, the chairs will be ready, the fire will be going, and we're going to talk TTRPGs. We'll answer questions live in chat if you want. Bring your questions about your groups, your campaigns, recommendations, playing, running, whatever. We want to talk about it all with you. So come hang out with us, and then we will see you after that on Fridays, where we are going back and forth playing video games. We're currently on V Rising, which is an interesting vampire builder type game, where we eat people, and it's great. So that's kind of what we've got going on. Kelton, have you got any shots to give this year? This session.
Sure. One. Oh shoot, I don't know the exact date. Hey, but Legends of the Old Kingdom starts on Heathen Cantina. On Heathen Cantina's Twitch channel, early July. I think we pushed it back. It's not going to be. Let's see. It's not going to be this coming Wednesday, but it might be the next. We took a hiatus. We played like a little campaign to get everything together, and then went on hiatus to play like first edition, like hardcore Dark Souls D&D for a second, just to remember. And it was gonzo and amazing, and my character died. And we're moving on and going back to the actual campaign, which is going to be a live show starting, maybe like 2 or 3 Wednesdays from now. But if you go to Heathen Cantina, they're already boosting it and talking about it. So it's going to be like a 5th edition / old school jam with a lot of extra difficulty and a whole lot of role playing. So
Awesome. Joanne, do you have any shout outs?
You already did my shout outs.
I did. Are there no
oh
more?
man,
No.
Okay. How about you, Albion?
Nope. Nothing going on here. Just
Nothing
living
going
my
on there,
life.
Jeff? Oh man.
No, sir.
All right.
Kind of how I
Well,
like it.
the quiet life's the life for me too. Um, so yeah, that's it, friends. We'll be back in 2 weeks and find out what's going on the Silver Sun and on the Pale Sun, and hopefully scare my crew a little bit more. And from our citadel to yours, happy gaming.
Happy gaming.
Happy gaming.
Hi, guys.